blame.
We can prosper to a certain extent. If you're breaking the law.
White people for having success, or black people for not getting the success.
Whoa, sis.
Talk to me. I open the page, they talk to me. Come on now, brew walk for me. Urban Gorilla, that sauce on me. Yeah, I was shy, pay the cost on me. He the boss man, he got up on that cross for me. He the boss man, he got up on the cross for me. He the boss man, he got up on that cross. Yeah. I open the page, they talk to me. Come on now, brew walk for me. Urban Gorilla, that sauce on me. Yeah, I was shy, pay the cost on me. He the boss man, he got up on that cross.
What's up?
Give me what's the love of God in the Bible?
Second John 6.
2 John 6. Where's that? What's up, man? Keep the commandments, man. Keep the commandments. With that, he had to scoot down.
You heard curly.
I was trying to. But where was that?
Where's that?
Matter of fact, what's she talking about? What's talking about?
I'm trying to get built up in the spirit, man. It's called this thing. I wanted you to read it up there.
Yeah, go ahead and read it. 3 seconds.
Okay, kind of. This is the book of 2 John, chapter 1, verse 6. And this is the love, Salah, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment, that as you have heard from the beginning, you should walk in it.
This is love, that we keep his commandments. Like the last statute commandments we was telling him, through Genesis, through Deuteronomy, that's how we show love towards each other. If I love you, I won't kill you. If I love you, I won't steal from you. If I love you, I won't covet anything you have. I'll actually show you brotherly love. That's what actual love is, or agape in the Greek. And that's a Greek word there for love. What?
It's the book of John, chapter 15, verse 13. Oh, I'm sorry, verse 12. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
He laid down his life for his friends. Now, Christ did that when he died for us. Also, when you look at the commandments, we're not supposed to stand against the blood of our neighbor. So if we see our fellow Israelite brother, something happened to him, we need to do something about it. Don't just sit there and just let him die. That's you showing love to him. Because if you show that you don't care if you just sit there and let him die. Like, you know what I mean? That's what that's really going into. It's expounding on the law. What you got? Hold on, before you get there. Do you got any questions, sis? Because I jumped midway into this conversation. What were you talking about?
Just my life.
What's going on? If you care to share.
What's up?
I mean, just betrayal and me understanding, me trying to work through that, I don't really want to put my business out there, but just learning to self-love myself and learning how to protect my energy in a sense of who to give my energy to, who to yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where. Initially I didn't want to be put on the spotlight, but
I mean, we out here for our people, man. We ain't here just to straight condemn our people. We want to help our people out in their situations. Now, do you believe in the Bible?
To a certain extent.
What's that extent?
That is guidelines, but.
Well, let me rephrase the question. What part of it do you not believe in?
I haven't even made it through the whole thing to say, like, I fully don't believe, but I know that I went to church I stopped going to church when I was 14, so I really didn't find a connection with church, so I indulged into my spirituality. Once I indulged into my spirituality, I realized that that was a way for me to connect. It wasn't through, religious, it was through me connecting through my third eye, me connecting through my chakras, me aligning to connect with God, because initially, we're God people, right?
We is us, yeah.
God made us, right? Or he breathed life into us, the reason we are alive is because of him. So initially, we are the sole reason to connect. We, as people, can connect to him before anything. Like, the Bible, that's the tool, Depending on the person, depends on if that tool is negative or positive, So, just with this, the devil is a fallen angel. You see what I'm saying? So, hold on, let me just make a point.
Okay, go ahead.
So, the devil is a fallen angel, right? In a sense of how they say. So, with that being said, the devil knows just the same as much knowledge. So he can come, pull the Bible, and speak the same type of stuff and relate a message. Might be different from your message, you know, or might be different from another person.
That's why
But
the spirit
still,
didn't sit
you
right
know,
in the church.
it's like,
Can I chime in now?
yeah, of course.
Now, this is what I really wanted you to stop. I really wanted to stop you with the whole when you got to church. Now, as far as the Christian church, we don't believe in modern Christianity. Like, we don't believe in religion. We believe these scriptures is a part of our heritage. It has our history in it. It has how we should govern ourselves as a people. It has our forefathers who did great things in it.
Yeah.
You said it's a guideline. It has laws, statutes, and commandments, but it also it has history things in it. It even talks about Greece, like about how Greece took over Israel and Rome took over Israel. It has history in it. It's part of our culture. Now, as far as Christianity speaking in the churches, we can't think that church or pastor is the doctrine.
Yeah.
Like we don't believe like the whole idea of the devil being a fallen angel. We don't believe that because the scriptures don't say that. The Christian church propagates that. So that's why I'm saying we can't think the church is the doctrine. Now, when we go to Christian church, they give us this. You see this? Who do they say this is? No, I mean, if you take the horns out.
Okay, because I was like,
Oh, you right, but I mean, who without the horns? Who do they say this is?
Jesus, but I already know Jesus is black.
Yes, Jesus is a so-called black man.
Yes, black creates every color.
Say that, but the issue I want to make is church, the Christian church. We can't think that is the doctrine. We can't think that's the Bible. We have to actually open it up and read it ourselves because there's things. Because people say they don't believe in the Bible, but there's things you can't explain. Because these people had knowledge of things that nobody, like Daniel chapter 7, I'll say that. It talks about 4 major rulers. Then it talks about Babylon. It talks about the Persian and Medes and Greece and Rome in it. And it talks about them getting destroyed, but way before this even happened. That's something scientists can't even explain. How do they have that information? It talks about in Deuteronomy chapter 28 about us going on slave ships thousands of years before it happened. So how can you explain that? Like they're dealing. Like we can't think that this isn't a spiritual book. Like they were dealing with the spirit, because how else could they understand these things? Matter of fact, give me 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 20. I'm gonna show you something real fast.
Bring it out.
This is a spiritual book, man. I'm gonna show you.
Book of 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 20, and it says, knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any improper interpretation.
Yeah.
For the prophecy came not in the old time by the will of man.
So nobody just sat down and just wrote this book and wrote the prophecy is gonna happen. Go ahead.
But holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit.
They were moved by the Holy Spirit. Just like how Moses went in Deuteronomy chapter 28, it talks about Israel will go on slave ships. It talks in Isaiah chapter 42, you're going to be hid, like the children of Israel are going to be hid in prison houses. That we didn't even, the reason we know that that's this time period is because we didn't even deal with prisons. Like in the law, statutes, and commandments, there was like, if you did this, this happened. There wasn't no way to go to court or nothing. It was this, you did this, this happened. Did this, this happened. It's talking about something happening in the future. And where are we located now? In prison houses. Blacks and Hispanics build the prison houses. So it says in the future you'll be in prison houses. You go on slave ships. Somebody will take your wives in captivity and rape them. It says you will build up a field and you won't reap the benefits thereof. Who did that happen to? That happened to us, and that was written thousands of years before it happened to us. Like we can't negate the spirituality of this book. They were dealing with some kind of knowledge, because no other book in the world can you see the prophecy that you can equate to the prophecy of the Bible.
So this was written 1,000 years ago, right?
Well, the part where I was quoting the Deuteronomy.
Yeah, that part. So with that being said, you don't think that it was premeditated?
Premeditated?
Yeah, like
what was premeditated?
Like in a sense, if it was thousands of years ago and it was just like, oh well, fuck it, you know, we think that the minority is the superior, so you know what? Or we're gonna make them inferior. Fuck it. Make their ass slaves and put them in these fucking prison camps or whatever. And they wrote that down thousands of years ago. So
that happened before this though. Like this was written before they did that.
I know, but okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you did.
I'm just saying, like, okay, if this happened thousands of years ago, then if somebody thousands of years ago, like how people have ideas of movies. You see what I'm saying? Like right now, example, idea of a movie, or I got an idea. Oh damn, let me create a store for baby. Just being figurative, you know. No one has ever heard of this, you know, this store of baby. But I wrote it down. You see what I'm saying? I let this book go. I let my writings go. You see what I'm saying? Somebody else finds, oh damn, this is a good idea. You know, like damn, okay, let's try and put this into effect. You see what I'm saying? But that's 1,000 years ago that they were been trying to put everything in effect. So we have just been, you see what I'm saying? Like,
but as far, hold on, I got it wrong. But as far as premeditated in the fashion, like they picked up the book and tried to enslave us according to that.
Like no, somebody wrote it and was like they seen the Israelites, they seen our power back 1,000 years ago.
We didn't even exist
and was
at that
like,
time.
we didn't. So Israelites didn't exist 1,000 years ago.
Not every time that it was written.
Yeah, but no, not that specifically. Well, I got it wrong.
How were Israelites? Because you say they weren't even born around that time.
No, what he means is this, right? Like, when you mean by premeditated, do you? I just want to get this clarified. When you mean by premeditated, do you mean they looked in the Bible and tried to?
No, I'm talking about whoever. You see what I'm saying? But see here, they in the lifetime of 1,000 years ago, they like, damn, these local minorities, they powerful, they superior. And they say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna write some shit. You see what I'm saying? And they wrote the Bible, and then they pretty much put the Bible out, but they put out however they felt that the world should be. You see what I'm saying? It's like writing a book. If I wrote a book about the future, you see what I'm saying? Somebody finds this book, and then they like, oh, I died. Somebody finds this book. Now they trying to put in, you see, not even rip it off, but put it into effect. Put whatever I wrote in this book to effect because they believe. You see what I'm saying? So if the inferior believes in this book, you see what I'm saying? They done put all the steps and everything into trying to make this book happen. You see what I'm saying? Because
but that's still the same thing. You really in a roundabout way saying the same thing I'm saying. Just because I said like you're trying to make it seem like it's premeditated as like they just did that as fulfilling this. But the thing about it is, sister, let me show you this. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. Because I'll say it like this: as far as them trying to fulfill this, I'll actually agree with you because the Lord put the spirit upon the so-called white man and other nations. You got that precept? What you got? Yes. Hold on. The Lord put that spirit upon the so-called white man to enslave us to fulfill all that to a T. Because since we didn't do, don't get that. Give me Deuteronomy first. Give me Deuteronomy first. Give me Deuteronomy 28 real fast. Let's go point for point. Watch it.
Yeah, this book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, okay, to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now the Lord said in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, if we didn't keep these law, statutes, commandments that he previously said before, if we didn't keep these, all these curses will come upon us. Now, when you read the curses, give me verse 30. Watch this.
Verse 30, this Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30, it says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
Didn't that happen to us in slavery? We shall betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her? Our women were raped in slavery. Go ahead.
Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Who built the White House? And basically this whole nation, who built that? We built that. And we don't reap the benefits thereof. Now, when you look at this and directly analyze it, the Lord says, if you don't keep these commandments, I'm going to make that happen to you. He put the spirit on the so-called white man and other nations to put us in captivity like that. So because we didn't listen to him. So yeah, they fulfilled it to a T because the Lord put that spirit upon them to do that. That's how it works. It's like how you said it's like a movie, right? The Lord has his own movie. And we the main characters, we the protagonists. The so-called white man is the antagonist. Everybody else outside of that are extras. Now, when we mess up and not keep the law, statutes, and commandments, he allows them to put us into captivity as far to a T as the curses. Like the slave ships that happened to us. We were raped, and our children, give me verse 32 real fast.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
We've seen that in every slave movie, right? Go ahead.
And thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
And there shall be no might in thine, because we had to watch our kids get taken away from us, right? And there was nothing we could do about it. So the Lord allowed that to happen. It's like but when we're keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, we're walking around with a force field like nobody can touch us. But when we depart from the Lord, that's when He decides to take that force field off and allow the so-called white man to do this, that, and the third, man. That's what the Bible's teaching. And these people, and I'll say it like this, right? When it was writing this is way in the past, before the so-called white man even was prominent in the world, to try to change anything, to do anything. This was you got 5. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the book of Judah, chapter 5 and 17.
This is exactly what I'm saying.
And whilst they sinned not before their God,
well, we kept the commandments. Go ahead.
They prospered because the God that hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way,
when we broke the commandments, like I said, all His curses will come upon you and overtake you.
Which He appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives to a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemy.
What?
Were taken by the enemy.
Now, you see all this stuff, right? It's pointing to this one thing, right? Since we departed from the Lord, He allowed this to happen to us. There's no other book that, like, I would say it like this, there's no other writing anywhere that can explain why the so-called, we're talking about so-called black people right now. There's no literature out there that can explain why we're in this position. Like, if you look at us, the so-called white man don't deal with the same thing we have to deal with. They don't have to deal with when you get pulled over. You've been pulled over before, right? You're scared for your life, right? Yeah, you did. I mean, but the thing about it, it's not. It is what it is. There's a reason though, because you have to really think about why does this happen to us specifically and not everybody else. People come over here and nothing happens to them. They get a business and prosper. We've been here forever, and we can't explain why we're still in this downtrodden state. But the commandment, the scripture we just read explains it.
We can prosper to a certain extent. If you're breaking the law.
White people for having success, or black people for not getting the success.
Whoa, sis.
We're not equal to the same opportunities, but still.
Sis, how did they get their success though? How did they get their success? I can't blame them for how they got their success. Look at that sign right there. Look at this. Look at that. That's all the businesses they got off of slavery. They got all the businesses and stash that these families have. They got off old money from slavery.
You gotta let go of that. You gotta let go of that.
Sis, why?
But if we're able to make
bring that folks right there. Hold that up, man.
We're able to make something even better than that. My whole ordeal is, I understand everything, but if we made all of this, we can make something better.
You can't make any of that. Because you know full damn well that the banks, the only way you're going to do that, you got to have capital. Because the banks ain't giving loans like that to us. That's not happening. But before you even get there, you have to realize how they got that. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. I got to say this. Sis, because I can't believe you said that. So this right here. Hey, hold up, hold up. They got all their wealth off of old money. All these rich families, the Walmart family, Wells Fargo, especially the banks, they got all that from insurance, black slaves, over there, off slavery. Now they got all this power, so when they can do whatever the hell they want to do with us, we don't have that ability. And the only way we can ever get that ability, they have to relinquish some of their power unto us. We can't just build what we want. Because remember, you know about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma? And we tried doing that, right? We tried building stuff better, and what happened? They bombed, the government of America bombed it. Because they don't want us to grow up. They don't want us to get any type of power. Because as soon as we rise, their power diminishes. So, and if you think about it, going back to what I said before, how did they get that? From slavery. They're not about to allow that. They're not about to let that go. That's not ever going to happen. And that's why there needs to be some kind of divine intervention. Because we're never going to be like Black Lives Matter walking up and down the street. That's not going to change nothing. They laugh at us when we do that. And it changed it when Martin Luther King did it.
About divine intervention.
Yeah.
What is there to do?
What is there to do? Give me Deuteronomy 28 verse 1.
Okay, give me
This book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Hearken diligently means listen. What?
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So if we, it's the inverse of it. If we keep the commandments, like the one job he told us to do, he'll establish us above literally everybody else in the planet. That's what's going to happen to us. But until we decide to do that, we're going to be low to everybody. Matter of fact, give me verse 47. Watch this. Right? Because the thing about us is, if you read in the Bible, we establish a covenant with the Lord. Whether you wanted to deal with it or not, your forefathers did that. So the Lord requires that of us. So if we decide to not worship him, we're going to worship, we decide not to serve him, we're going to serve somebody else. It's either we're going to serve him for abundance of everything, like the world, or we're going to serve the so-called white man. Now watch this.
It's Deuteronomy 28 verse 47.
Yeah.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy.
We shall do what?
Serve thine enemy.
We have to serve our enemies. We have to get a job in America. Our boss is a so-called white man. Or if he's not, it might be a so-called black man, but who's above him? Another so-called white man. Who's ruling this planet? This planet too. But who's ruling America? So-called white men. So no matter what we do, we have to serve them since we decided not to serve the Lord. But watch this. Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger.
In hunger. If you want food, where you got to go? You got to go to Walmart. You got to go to McDonald's. You got to go to Whataburger. Who owns those places?
You can start.
Where you going to get your seeds from?
I don't know.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Let me hear where you going.
Wait, I got a site right there. You said we can grow it. Where do we have to get our seeds from?
Okay,
The so-called white man. No matter where we go, we have to deal with it. And the thing about it, we can only get specific seeds because certain companies bought up the rights to produce certain type of seeds. We can't even get the raw stuff. We got to get some of this GMO and produced in laboratories and stuff like that. So that's not even a salvation to us. And on top of that, we can't even plant it wherever we want because that's illegal. So we still have to deal with it. But go ahead, there's more.
And then the seeds got GMOs in it that he put in there. You know? So and then the land's polluted. So this Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 48. Okay. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst.
Yeah, hunger and thirst. If you want food or water, you gotta go to the so-called white man, right?
And in nakedness and in want of all things.
And want of all things. If we want anything in America, we have to go to another nation. Our people don't have anything because we decided to depart from the Lord. And if that's not the case, how else do we explain why the so-called black man has never, at any point, arisen from the state they've been in America? We went to slaves, to the black codes, to the Tuskegee experiments, to Jim Crow, to the Juan Crow for the Hispanic people. We went from all the laws about stop and frisk all the way up to this point. Even everything they know about gynecology, you know where they learned that from? They learned that from literally taking black women, abducting them, and then experimenting on their vaginas. They learned that from literally oppressing us. Up this point, we've never arose in power at any point in this place. And you have to really understand and look at it. Like a Chinese man can come over here and now he got a business. He's weak in America, now he got a business. The Japanese man got a business. How have we been here for centuries and can never rise?
I don't know. I got a business and I'm doing shit right now, and I feel like, stop complaining.
Stop complaining?
Yes.
But the thing about it is, you'll never, I'll say it like this, you'll never get to the point
Because the thing about it is,
well, you're going to go oppress there too.
Black people out here are blissfully ignorant. They don't want to change.
Sweetheart, I'm from Israel. We get oppressed in our own country. That's my name.
Give me the curse over to you. Hold up, no time. Watch this video.
Yeah, this is the book
You said move to another land.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee.
And do what?
Pursue thee.
So if I go to Japan, if I go to Asia, if I go to Russia, these curses are going to pursue me. I'm going to go there, they're still going to call me a nigga in Russia, they're still going to call me a nigga in Germany, and they're still going to do the same thing. There's more, matter of fact, there's more blatant racism in Europe than there is here. They don't mind calling you a nigga. So it goes back to the same thing. Yeah. They don't say what? Because you look at our issues, right? What's the issues of the plight of the black man in America? We're murderers to each other. We lie to each other. We worship everything, literally everything, right? What else do? We take each other's wives. Now, if you think about every one of those things, there's a commandment against each one of those things. Black on black crime, so-called black on black crime, right? We know it's the same for all the races, but they like to say black on black crime. If we kept "thou shalt not kill," you wouldn't have to worry about. You wouldn't have to worry about black on black crime. If we kept the commandments on not stealing from each other, we wouldn't have to worry about theft. Every issue that the so-called black man has in America is solved by keeping the various commandments. That's how we solve our problems. Because we have hatred. Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse about the brother, right? Because like it goes back to this. I've been going back to Deuteronomy 28 the whole time. These are written. Everything that's written about the curse overtaking you, slavery, your wives getting taken, that was written a whole like thousands of years ago. But we see every one of these today. And these curses will overtake and pursue us. Matter of fact, go back to that verse again. Overtaking and pursue us again.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 45.
Yeah.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of...
What verse you at? Go to 37.
Verse 37.
Give me a sign.
It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations.
So where says that seed? Where says you come upon that seed?
Oh, it keeps reading.
Okay, go ahead. It's like
Deuteronomy 28, I'll just go to verse 46. And they shall be upon thee.
These curses, like we just read, go ahead.
For a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Upon thy seed forever. So no matter how far we go into history, these curses have still came upon us. Our children have still been oppressed. Our wives still been raped and nothing happened for it. We still hate each other forever. Like all the way to this point, nothing's ever changed because it's going to go upon our seed until we decide to return to the Lord. Like we can say, like how you say about the whole spirituality thing. Before I came into realizing the Israelite, I did the same exact thing. But I had to come to the conclusion that that's not going to help my people. If I can say I'm a spiritual person or I activate my third eye, but how's that going to stop me from hating my brother? How's that going to stop me from being a murderer? How's that going to stop my brother from murdering me? There's nothing to build upon as a nation. We can't be so focused on me, I. It's about us. Everybody else, all the other nations take care of themselves. The so-called Chinese men bring their family over here. They make businesses. The Japanese men do the same. The Jewish man, calling himself a Jew, do that. They do. They all take care of each other, but we the only people who don't do that. And the Bible said we would do that. Give me Deuteronomy 28 about the brother. Like these are questions. These are questions you really got to answer yourself, because we want to just look at this like white Christianity like this. This ain't the Bible. That church ain't the Bible. The Bible is literally the plight of us. It's the story of us, literally. Go ahead.
It's Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother.
Now, what man people just when they see each other mean mug each other for no reason? What race of people do that? That's us, ain't it? You know that's us. They do that. We do that.
But that's not me.
I was
raised
it's about the nation. You know, our people do that. Our people how do we explain things like this, right? Now keep going.
Yes. And toward the wife of his bosom.
And don't they do it to their women too? Don't they? Our people notorious for treating our women terribly? We're notorious for that, right? Watch this. Go ahead.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Who's leaving their children? Who's leaving their children, sis? But we just up here I'm just saying. But sis, like you ain't this stuff like this. You ain't gonna hear this in the church because they ain't teaching that. This literally something you can. This explains why we're in our situation. All this explains why everything happened to us on the way here. It explains why things continue to happen to us. That's what we're trying to tell you. We gotta repent, sister. We have to keep these commandments because nothing is going to change. You have a business now, but something can happen. You want to pass it to your kids, right? Something can happen where the so-called white man just takes your business away from you, and your kids. I mean, you can say it won't, but an act of God can happen. They can do that.
Black Girl Self-Care. So it's a holistic. It's a holistic business. That's how I can say it.
What do you have? What do you kind of
So sage, yoni steams,
I know about that.
Getting out listen, that's the discernment.
Yeah, my wife did that too. I know about that stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is like, the so-called white man can take that from you at any point. Like that, it's like even all the stuff you have to get to another nation to get in the first
I mean,
place.
anybody can take it from you.
I know, but that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that our people, we're subject to that. The so-called white man, the Asian man don't have to deal with certain things like that, but we do. What they're doing as a people, in totality.
People don't get their businesses too.
I'm saying in totality. Like for us, everything is taken from us, literally. And if you look at it in volume, not in single instances, in volume. Like just like how you have with was it Nick Cannon? Oh yeah, they can take his show whenever they want to. They did that when he tried to tell people.
Just because he said something ain't right.
Yeah, he said we were the Israelites. Like how we trying to say, and they took his show away. If you don't operate under their parameters, they're gonna take everything from you, and that's us being subject to the curses. Give me that way to lend to me, and Deuteronomy, and then you get your precept. Let me get you this one, sis. I gotta get you this one.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee
Now, somebody who's not your nation, go ahead.
shall get up above thee very high,
Yeah,
and thou shalt come down very low.
that's us. The so-called white man came to America, oppressed the Native Americans who were Israelites, brought us over here, oppressed us, and got real high because of it. That's how you see all these businesses right here. It's cool. They'll allow us to have a business. We'll never get there. We'll never get to the stature of what they got off old money. That'll never be. And you'll be hard pressed. Like you'll be hard pressed to even get in the top richest people. You only have a few so-called black people up there. Why is that? Exactly. But look at the percentage of people who's not that. What color are they? Everything other than us. The stranger who's within thee shall get above thee very high, and you should be brought down very low. Keep going.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee,
They own the banks because they got that off old money. They shall lend to us, but what?
and thou shalt not lend to him.
We shouldn't lend to them because we don't have the ability to. Because look at our state. Like all this is in the same chapter. I've been in the same chapter with you this whole time. Like this is what the Bible teaches. If we don't do what the Lord says, we gonna be screwed. Because our forefathers signed a deal with the Lord. He said, the Lord says, well, I'll give you everything you ever wanted if you do what I said do. Our people don't do that, so that's what happens to us. And give me Tobin. Okay, go ahead.
You give me something slow to
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
He shall be the what?
The head, and thou shalt be the tail.
He shall be the head, and we shall be the tail. What's the head? The leader, the apex, and the tail is the very bottom. That's us. Go ahead.
Yep. And this is Daniel 9 and 12. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us.
All those curses I just read in Deuteronomy 28 is poured upon us because we departed from the Lord.
I definitely hear, and I'm listening to what you guys are saying, but I'm in a position where I realize that, we go through things to learn different perspectives. So you don't think that we're going through this as Israelites or minority, you don't think we're going through this to learn different perspectives, because back then, Moors, they were people to teach pretty much the white folks and everybody else how the way of life, right? So with that being said, we was superior ones, so you don't think that us being in this position of where we're at is to learn a different perspective?
It's someone to learn the perspective of we should have listened to the Lord. Because the world was made for, like the Bible says, the world was made for our sakes. We're supposed everything, like all the other nations outside of us is made for our sakes.
How can we know bad or how can we know good if there is no bad?
I never said there is no bad because I know.
This situation of our people being oppressed, everything that you're saying, that's the situation of being bad. But us being in this situation gives us a perspective of understanding what the oppressors were going through when we were the ones who were superior in Israelites.
Well, we didn't impress them like that. The way the so-called white man did it, there's no one point in time we ever impressed them like
How
that.
can we control what another person do? You see what I'm saying? We can't control the whole nation and be like, okay, you know, don't treat us this way. No, if
But
they
that's
want to do that, that's them.
the thing about that is that's kind of irrelevant in the overarching point, because I told you before, since we transgressed the law, statutes, and commandments, the Lord allowed them to do that. That's the whole perspective. How do we listen to him? We got the whole the negative perspective in here. We just read it to you. If we would have just kept the law, statutes, and commandments, we wouldn't even seen the negative perspective. We wouldn't have to worry about it.
The Lord that allowed them, or
Yes.
do you think that it's us that we allowed them because we stopped following the Lord?
No, the Lord allowed us because we broke his covenant. Give me what you got.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 1 in the GNT. So the Lord carried out the threat he made against us and against our judges, our kings, our rulers, and the people of Israel and Judah. Nowhere else on earth
Go ahead.
have such things happened as happened in Jerusalem.
Now, all this curse I just read, they've never had, in totality, have never happened to any other nation except us. The Lord said he made good on his promise. That's what he said right there. He made good on his promise. He said, if y'all don't listen to me, all this is going to happen to you. Go ahead.
It says, nowhere else on earth have such things happened as happened in Jerusalem when the Lord carried out the threats written in the law of Moses.
We just read to you. He carried out the threats. He carried out the threats since we departed from him. He put the Spirit upon them to come take them and destroy us, destroy us in the fact of like mentally, and allow us to be ruled over. Because even he doesn't just do that just for the sake of destroying us. He also does it in a way to destroy America. And I'll show you. Give me Revelations chapter 17 verse 16. I'll show you a perfect example of that.
Bring it out,
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
Now, contextually, that's talking about America being destroyed in the future by the 10 horns, or the 10 nations is going to come do it, right? Now, watch this.
For God had put in their hearts.
God had did what?
Put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
God had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, to have this place destroyed. He does that with them, and he also does that to the other nations to come do that to us. It even talks about with the red horse that came in 70 AD and it's all in a slavery with us. Go ahead and get that's what it is.
Yeah, this is Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord.
It's what?
Is in the hand of the Lord.
The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. The president, all the so-called white men who came over here, who did this to us, the Lord put that on their spirit to do that. That's just the point. That's the only conclusion you can really come to. Because if that's not the case, then the Lord is surprised every time somebody does something. That's the only. It's either he's surprised all the time, which makes him not omnipotent, or he knows and predestined everything to happen according to his will. That's what the Bible teaches. What?
As the rivers of water, he turneth it whatsoever he will.
He turned it whatsoever he will. Now, that's how we know America's going to get destroyed in the future, because he's putting the Spirit upon them to actually basically destroy this place and like cannibalize itself. Like even with the stimulus packages that they're coming out with, that's cannibalizing the economy. That's already destroyed right now. Like, they're giving black folks tens of thousands of dollars on some SBA loans, man. When you ever seen America actually just do that? like you cannibalize your own economy to do what? To bring about the destruction of America. Because matter of fact, this is what I was going to go into earlier. Give me Revelation chapter 18. I believe it's verse, the one I had read earlier. No, not from the top. Her sins. Verse of their sins.
Oh, okay. And this is verse 5. For her sins have reached. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
Now, contextually, the context of this, he's talking about Babylon. Babylon in modern day times is America. The great melting pot, the place where everything comes together and all nations try to come together. That's Babylon. That's the her it's talking about. Read it again.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities.
God have remembered her iniquities, like the slavery they do for us. They went every 26 hours. In Matthias, every 26 hours a black man's killed in America.
Every 26 or 28.
26 or 28 hours. The Lord's remembering all that, and He's going to do what? Read the next verse.
It says, verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double, according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, filled to her double.
Filled to her double. We've been in captivity or slavery here for centuries, for like 4 or 5 centuries, right? Now, when we get to be in rulership, give me Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. When we get to be in rulership, we're gonna rule over them for the double amount of time. It's gonna be a 1,000-year reign over them. That's what's gonna happen. That's rewarding them double. They put us in captivity for 4 to 5 centuries. We're gonna do 9 to 10 centuries. You know what I mean? Watch this. Go ahead.
It's Revelation chapter 13. Revelation 13 and 10.
Yeah.
He that leadeth into captivity.
He that leads in captivity. When you say the so-called white man and the other nations led us into captivity, they did that to us, right? Watch this.
Shall go into captivity.
They gotta go into captivity for it. Because we're God's chosen people. When you do that to us, you gotta be repaid for it. Even if you put the spirit upon them, do it. They still gotta be repaid for it. Because the Lord promised everything in this book. He promised it to us. The promises, the rulership, the being able to have everything, all the abundance of everything was given to us. Now, when you block that by putting us into captivity, now you have to get put into captivity. That's justice. That's right. It's really an eye for an eye. Go ahead.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Yeah.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
And that's what we patiently waiting for it's going to be our time for rulership. That's what the Bible teaches. It's basically telling you, eventually, you're going to be rulers. That's what Deuteronomy 28 verse 1 said. If you listen to, if you hearken to the Lord, the voice of the Lord thy God, I'm going to set you above all nations. That's us being in rulership, sis. Don't you want to be a princess and you want to just rule the planet and have everything? You don't have everything, sis. You can't have everything if you have to worry about getting taken. You know, you see. I know you on Facebook. I'm not trying to get on your Facebook. You see social media. Matter of fact, you can take that out. You see a whole bunch of missing pictures of so-called black women. They're snatching black women up. That's something y'all got to worry about. Now you can't be that's not rulership. You always have to look around the corner. I'm saying you always got to look around the corner and have to worry about that. Well, even if you don't, it's still hold up, Tom. It's still a possibility of it happening to you. Whether or not you have to worry about it, or whether or not you're not afraid of it, that happens to us. We have to worry about getting shot by police. We have to worry about getting marginalized. We have to worry about all those things, showing you we're not in any type of rulership. We can walk around in a mindset like I'm a king and stuff like that, but the so-called white man ain't gonna treat you like that. They're gonna call you a nigga to your face and say you were nothing. It don't matter how much money you got. They call Oprah Winfrey a nigga. You see how much money she got, how much authority and power she has, and they still treat her like a nigga. And on top of that, she'll never reach the level they have of money, of old money. That'll never happen.
But it's not thing. All right, you're right.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
I have to go. Thank you.
Hey, sister, be in touch.
Keep the
Keep the commandments.
Repent.
Hey, it took a lot for her to admit that she repented. Because my sisters, boy, they don't like to admit when they wrong.
Boy, that's about boy.
Yeah. My sisters hate
And the thing about it is, sis, right? I know what it all boils down to.
That's great.
The thing about it is, like, the thing about this, hold on, somebody fast, right? The thing you have to realize is, we know the Bible to a certain extent, but we can show you by just looking around that what you believe is false. The whole idea of you're equal to Americans is false. The whole thing of you can walk around as a king, or that king mind state, that's not going to do nothing for you. When a so-called white man see you in a car, they going to kill you like on American Skin, or they going to kill your son. That happens to us. The so-called white man can hop out the car, say, what the fuck you want, box with a cop, and then they'll take our attention. I don't want to do it. Give me Psalm 73 fast.
You know how stiff neck she is, bro? She was just wrapping it up with me. She's in the shelter right now. She's in the shelter. So you want to say that you're ruling? Come on, man.
Like, I'm showing you why you in this position. You want, like, give me Nehemiah.
That's a lot of pride.
That's a lot of pride.
A lot of pride.
And our women are so prideful, bro.
I'm like, what is you? You just told me that you're your situation. You lying right in his face.
The thing is, she's so mentally, she's trying to strengthen herself by telling herself she's this, but in reality, she's not.
Her reality, she's not.
But that's
selfish. That's selfish.
Psalm 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men.
They're what?
They are not in trouble as other men.
The so-called white man is not in trouble like other men. They don't have to worry about stop and frisk. They don't have to worry about first one fire, last one hired. They don't have to worry about nothing like that, bro. What are they doing?
Yeah, but you can stop here. I cannot breathe in the germs in the air.
Hey, you know the virus is actually smaller than the fibers of that.
Exactly.
You can breathe it right on in.
The masses ain't shit.
Yeah, it's the equivalent. The virus is the equivalent of a mosquito going through a chain link fence. Y'all are so, and the heathen is so scared, bro.
Because they have
Give
no faith.
me Matthew chapter 5
You
at
don't
the very
have no
end.
God to believe in.
Exactly.
It's Matthew 6. Give me at the very end. 30 and 31.
6:31.
The book of Matthew chapter 6 and verse 31. Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink?
So don't worry about substance and don't worry about things you can see, because the Lord's going to take care of you. But what? Go ahead.
Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek.
The Gentiles seek after that because they don't have no faith in no living God, bro. They have zero faith in the living God. That's why you walk around with a mask in public. And talking about the mask, it stops here with the mask. It don't stop with the mask. Y'all don't even research the bullshit you got on your face, bro. Like y'all act like y'all so much smarter than us, but y'all don't even research the fact that the virus is smaller than the fibers that go through the mask. You're coughing, the virus is going directly through the fucking mask. You think Hollywood fast? Y'all fucking retarded, bro. And it hurts me. It hurts me to have to give me second Ezra. Drop that. Give me second Ezra 6.
Let them know, what?
About these heathens. Stay there. We're not going nowhere. Stay there. I gotta make this one real fast. It pains me to have to be in subjection to morons, bro. It pains me to have to be in subjection to people who believe they're smarter than me, but you walk around with some panties on your face like it's blocking something. Like y'all don't even research. You don't know what a mole is. As a science, Google that. You don't know what a scientific unit of size of a mole, right? That's smaller than the fibers in a mask. And that's the same people who's doctors. That's the same national people who wants to be doctors and tell you need to put a mask on your face. And it's not because of science you learned, it's because the so-called white man told you to do that. You're scared, you got no damn God, so you follow after them. It's madness. Go ahead.
57.
Where it says, oh, you heathen. And the heathen. Go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 57. And now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing.
It's always been reputed as nothing. And the amount of pride you have to walk in to think you're better than a so-called black man or a black, Hispanic, and Native American man, it's crazy, bro. Like, your music suck. I'm tired of smelling curry. Women smell bad. They ain't built right. Everything that comes with you is madness, bro.
You got tough with me.
Trying to get that man's gonna save me from this. Like, nigga, shut the hell up, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it pains me. It pains me I went to college, bro. I'm gonna say it like this. I went to college and have a degree in computer science, and I learned about regular science. I'm not a moron, bro. You're not about to tell me some madness. I'm not about to just sit there and just say, y'all tell me something on the news and I gotta take it and run with it, man. I'm not scary like that. I'm a prudent man and I look well to my way. Go ahead.
Which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be the lords over us.
They become to be lords over us, man. Now how dare, like, bro, the so-called white man, right? The so-called white man, they'll think they're superior to everybody. But when you go outside, within 5 to 10 seconds, you already died. Your skin is burning. Your skin is burning. How can you be superior to a black man? Like even in that form or facet, you're already inferior to us. It's madness. You don't have the power to overtake us. That's why you have to surprise us in wars. Matter of fact, that's the only way y'all have ever gotten anything. You have to literally take some people in peace and parole with guns and knives and surprise them in war to actually win a war. That's what the so-called white man does, and they're proud in it.
Hell yeah, they preach as hell, too.
And just because they don't have to worry about, getting shot by the police, they don't have to worry about losing their power in the world, their pride compasses them as a chain. Go back to this.
It is Psalms chapter 73 verse 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasses them, about as a chain.
So therefore, pride compounds them about a chain. As a chain. They're prideful in this place. Oh, there's nothing wrong with the cops. There's nothing wrong with, everybody get treated equally. We're in jail just like how you guys are. But look at the, you sit there and look at the statistics. What the hell are you talking about, bro? You know what I mean? What the hell are you talking about? Even the statistics that y'all put out. Y'all put the same statistics out and still wrong with the same BS, bro. Oh, black crime. Bro, if you look at the amount of deaths that have come from so-called black-on-black crime, it pales in comparison of the wars of white-on-white crime. It pales in comparison, bro. Because if we're going to go by that, then y'all are the biggest murderers. Y'all are the stupid people. I mean, y'all literally are stupid, but y'all are the foolish people like how y'all like to call us. The thing about it is madness. That's why I said, you heathen, I'm tired of being ruled over people who are mentally inferior to me, bro. I don't even like that. But people who are also mentally inferior to me and physically inferior to me is maddening. Maddening. When the Lord told us, the only thing the Lord told us to do is keep the law, statutes, commandments, and have faith in my son so you can get the promise. And like, our people could just do that. That's all you gotta do. That's the beginning, middle, and end of the story. Just do that, you get the world. But now, since our people don't want to do that, they want to shoulder away from us, from hearing the law, statutes, commandments. That's why our enemies come and overtake us.
All praise Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Kwame Asherala. Shalom.